All right, hey everybody. My name is DJ Somerville. As you know, this is my friend Isaac Smith,
What's up, guys?
and we just wanted to do this video to give a brief introduction about what we're gonna do in the future regarding these videos. We're making a YouTube channel called MixedTalks, where we'll be talking a lot about race relations and how we can do stuff we see in our environment, how we can make a difference, and just talk about some things. And right now, we just want to give a brief introduction about each other. I'm gonna let Isaac go first. Tell us why and how we got to this point right here. Take it away.
I got you. So, I guess I can talk like where I'm at in life right now. How I got real quick, how I got to where I'm at right now, so you can kind of have an understanding of our backgrounds. Because part of our heart with this whole channel is we want to be able to bring in people with different backgrounds and different experiences, and bring them together. That's why we call it Mixed Talks, to see different experiences. So, quick rundown of me. I was born in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I lived in Manchester, Tennessee until I was about 15 years old. And then,
shout out Tennessee.
Sir. Then I moved here to Huntsville about 4 or 5 years ago, going to college here in Huntsville, Alabama. So my upbringing, I was homeschooled. I was raised in a predominantly white neighborhood in Manchester where I grew up. It was a very white town, didn't have any black friends. And I was very much involved in the conservative white culture of the time, or of the environment in Manchester. So moving here to Alabama was a big shift in that, as I started being around more culture, more environment of meeting black people and being involved with black people. But I still kind of kept to myself as far as I stayed in my white context of church and school, and still didn't really have any black friends in my life, or any really friends that had come from a different background than me. And when I say background, I'm not talking just racially, but I'm talking like the very culture of how I was raised and how I grew up, and the values and political views and everything that the people around me had. It was all very similar to mine, so I was never really challenged with another viewpoint other than me. So then I went on a couple mission trips with my church, a couple of trips to my church to different places, and I started seeing meeting different cultures. And then I started evaluating my life and realizing, oh wow, I am not getting perspective from other people in my life from any other culture. And then I looked at my life and I was like, wow, everyone in my life is just like me, acts the same, comes from the same conservative movement, basically. So it just started happening that I started trying to listen more to people that came from a different background as me. And I made friends with DJ, and I made friends with another number of other people that I started realizing, wow, they came from a different culture, a different perspective as me. And just realizing there was a lot of, I guess, like one of the big things we're going to talk about is racial struggles. And I didn't have any clue the things that my black brothers and sisters experienced and go through on a daily basis. And once I started learning about that, it blew my mind. And I'm like, DJ, we got to do something to start a conversation. Even though we're like kind of just jumping out on a limb here with this YouTube channel, we're just trying to start conversations to try to talk about some of the things DJ and I talk about all the time, about our different experiences and how we can bring unity and bring people together, and stop with all these walls that are built between people, that I didn't even know were there, didn't even know it existed. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of me and where I'm coming from, and my heart for this channel to see these walls get broken down.
Well, thank you, Isaac, for that. My background is kind of similar, but yet different to kind of Isaac's. I grew up in Clarksville, Tennessee. Went to Clarksville High School. Shout out Clarksville, all that. Unique thing about Clarksville is it's the second largest military base, Fort Campbell, that's there, and it has a pretty decently sized college, Austin P there. So you're getting a lot of different mix of different types of people, not just racially, but politically, socially, economically, socioeconomically. There's a lot of diverse things about Clarksville, even though we are considered, being in the South. And growing up, I had a very nice life. I respect my parents. My dad's been a big part of my life and what he did in the city. And we introduced to a lot of people. A lot of people know my dad and whatnot. And had a good life. But, those things that I'm realizing now, I didn't really see until I came to Alabama, growing up in a evangelical Christian church and kind of like, oh, we're all equal. Because I grew up in a diverse church, but there's a lot of things that, oversight that I just never really noticed, and how other people don't live the same as me. And I always just kept quiet about the little racist things I saw in school and just growing up. And I didn't really see that till I started going and participating in Office of Diversity, how some people, especially here in Alabama, when I came here, at our school, are, it's just like a mute subject. I'll never forget, I was at UAH and I hear somebody like say, all black people are inferior to white people, just shout it down the hallway. And that's like, my eyes just opened up. I was like, they just, and no one did anything about it. And me and my friend, my other black friend, we were just sitting there, and it just like, that can go on here in Alabama. I just realized, racism is alive and well. I will admit, it's not as bad as it was like in the 50s and whatnot, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, especially in Alabama. And I just wanted to shine light on that and say that this YouTube channel is definitely, we're not putting any size in anything. We're not all conservatives are bad, all liberals are bad. We're all about unity and empathy for all and justice for all. And I wanted to throw that out there. We're not
Most
picking
definitely.
sides or anything. This is all about how we can come together and bridge that divide and really be the nation that God called us to be. So
Absolutely. I like how you make a good point. Like, the whole point of this channel is not to try to throw shade at one race or try to throw shade at one political group or anything like that, because our goal is to break down those barriers, because
most definitely
we put so many people into different categories, whether it's racially or politically or religiously even. Like, if you don't have my certain religious beliefs, you are inferior or whatever.
And we want to hear from people from both sides of the spectrum and see how we can really come together and be unified as the United States.
Yeah.
And to do really just one big world, as one big happy family, honestly. And how just because somebody believes something different from me, that doesn't mean they're the out group.
Yeah.
That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to bridge that divide. We're not trying to call out any out groups or anything.
Most definitely.
So
every person has a background that shapes who they are,
and every person has a story.
Yeah. So if we just put stereotypes in someone based on an outward prejudice we've already got, instead of actually learning to listen to their background and realizing, okay, they might see things differently than I do, but they didn't just wake up one day and decide to disagree with me. They actually come from a life and a background that shaped who they are. And if I can sit down and listen and take time to try to understand where they're coming from, maybe we can break down some walls here that were just built because we never took the time to try to understand each other. So that's kind of the whole point of this YouTube channel, is we're going to talk amongst each other about different issues, and then hopefully in the future we want to bring other people onto this channel who have different views than the two of us, or just bring in different people to share their viewpoints and their backgrounds, so we can start to learn to listen to each other instead of always project our views on someone before we even give them a chance to speak to us.
And a lot of people don't even talk about this stuff. That's another thing.
Yeah,
a lot of this
huge.
is like a mute subject, especially here in the South. It's like, it's kind of brushed under the rug, and
that's kind of my
about.
story.
Yeah.
Like, my story growing up, the whole reason I shared all that I shared was not to throw shade on conservative white environment I was in, but these kind of topics were never talked about. And that's the whole reason I talked about like getting friends that were different than me, was because that was the first time I ever heard about stuff like the discussion of police brutality, or the discussion of racism and conservatism, or both sides, or liberalism, or that was the first time it was ever addressed with any of these things, because they weren't talked about by any of my friends, because we just went around and lived our life, and we didn't have anyone in our life with a different viewpoint. And I feel like I'm not doing my brother justice if I don't hear him out and I don't listen to his background, and vice versa. So that's what the whole point of this is to open people's eyes to the real issues in our culture. We can't just sweep, specifically with racism is a big thing we want to talk about. We can't sweep our past under the rug and just say that it never happened, because that's like sweeping the whole part of what defines a person and their history under a rug. And yes, the only way we're going to heal from that past is if we talk about it, address it, and say, how can we move forward?
Yeah, and I grew up, the town that I grew up in, Clarksville, it was, it was pretty diverse, but still I grew up in around a lot of white conservatism, and I was a follower back in high school, and I just really never spoke up about anything, because you get your hints of racism here and there. And I've been in positions where I've heard a lot of racist things, and I just said nothing about it just so I could fit in. It wasn't until I got to college where I wanted to really insert my opinion and really try to talk about these things so we can be unified, because that's all. I just want unity. The one that I guess, and Isaac would agree with me with this, is that this channel is going to be about unity, empathy, and justice.
Absolutely. All those are so
three
important.
key characteristics right there I'm going to focus on. But
most definitely,
thank you for listening to this, and there's going to be more videos to come, so
most definitely stay tuned. And hey, if you have a specific thing you'd like us to talk about, we're definitely going to
comment on that. Tell us, let us know.
Please share this. This is our first video, so we're trying to obviously build a group of people following us, so please share this with people. Please show us your support, and also, like, this is not for the two of us, this is for you guys, so let us know.
Change.
Exactly.
Most definitely.
Let us know what you want to hear us talk about, what you would be interested in, and hey, let's talk. Let's get this conversation going. We hope for many more great conversations, and ultimately we don't want it to be just conversation. We want it to be life change and actual action, so that we can see our life here in Huntsville improve, and we can see ultimately the goal is to see the world just become a better place for people to live in unity and to be able to love each other well.
All right, we'll
catch y'all next time.
See you.
All right.